Tommy, how are you, mate?
This strike mission started like every other one. A forecast, a phone call, and a million messages to figure out if it's going to be any good. I first became aware of Shipsterns when I was about 10 years old. I was obsessed with big waves. I'd seen Laird's Millennium Wave, Jaws, and a lot of other big wave spots, but I'd never seen anything like Shipsterns. All the other waves were perfect. And when the Tracks mag broke with Kirra on the cover, sending it over the step, I would stare at that photo for hours. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And over 20 years later, I was finally boarding some flights to Tasmania to have a go. An overnight stay in an airport motel and a pickup the following day. We ran through our plans for the day, trying to figure out if we were going to get enough light to surf. The swell was forecasted to fill in the following day.
It's not beautiful.
Act natural for the camera, Tommy. The plan was to try and sneak a surf in and catch up over a few beers. After a few hours driving through the beautiful Tasmanian countryside, we pulled into the car park where you start the Shipsterns hike trail and set up all of our boards, hoping we'd get a surf in before the daylight ran out. Tommy had filled me in that the hike was pretty excruciating, but you'll soon find out. I don't think I was quite prepared for the intensity of this hike.
Crazy, dude.
About 45 minutes in, you reach this clearing where you can see the spot. What an incredible view.
Oh my God, that was amazing. And this one behind, did you see a chip? That one's chip. Look at that. Oh no. Oh yeah. Man, it looks like 1 foot from here, eh? But you just know it's like 6 to 8 foot.
No, that wave was big, way bigger than 6 to 8 foot.
There's some places you visit where you just feel so small. And this is definitely one of those places.
Probably a big boat too.
Yeah.
With limited daylight left and about a 2-hour hike down the mountain, we decided to pull up stumps for the day and save our legs for the next day. Act natural for the camera, Tommy. We decided to stop in at the nearest town to go for a swim. Go, Tommy. Nice and balmy.
Huh?
Nice and warm.
There's a few oysters on there.
And the water was so cold we needed to find a cosy pub to have some dinner and a beer to finish off our day. On our drive back to the hiking trail, we saw all kinds of wildlife. Tasmania is truly an amazing place.
4:30.
After a pretty shocking night's sleep, we set sail at the ripe old time of 4:30 a.m, where the air temp was about -5 degrees.
This is where we were yesterday. We've got a bit of a walk still ahead of us. We had our boards stashed, so we didn't have to carry them all the way. Now making payments for water safety.
The hike was pretty grueling, and there was this niggle in the back of my mind. I'm going to have to walk back up this mountain after a long day of surfing.
We did it. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. We actually made it. It's hard to put into words like the scale of this place, so.
Do that, dude.
Wow. Dude, I think I'm kind of baffled at how close to the rocks this joint is. It's a pretty gnarly zone to be chilling.
Look at this direction.
Oh, this wave.
That was a tricky, hey?
Oh, Yeah, that one wasn't easy. Man, most waves like wash you past the rocks.
Yeah.
This place looks like it washes you towards the rocks.
If you're enjoying the video so far, any kind of engagement really helps push the videos and will help me do more of these videos in the future. About 90% of you guys watching my videos are not subscribed. I'm not mad, just disappointed. If you want to support, please like, comment and subscribe.
Right now. Look at this next one. Oh my goodness. All right, I might go home. I
Yeah.
need you to give
So
me.
is that fine? Is that
That looks sweet.
doesn't
dude.
look like weird or anything? Like
Yeah.
it's got to have a little system down of getting all your gear on before you.
Yeah.
Being my first time here and Tommy's second time, I let him lead the way to the jump off. I found myself constantly looking up as all these boulders we were crossing I knew had fallen down at one point. Worst case scenario, you get squashed by a rock before you can even get into the water.
Yeah. Hard to really explain how big that feels. The rocks would be so fucking gnarly. Kind of like you at Betty's.
Yep.
Should we? Can we do the gloves now?
Yep.
Get those over.
This
and
was
done
my
with?
first time wearing a 7mm wetsuit. The gloves are also the same thickness and almost impossible to put on by yourself.
So just straight out here.
Yeah. Just see this wave though.
Okay.
I don't know if this wave is going to come up here. Yeah.
You really feel like you're at the end of the
You go
world
that way?
here.
Yeah, probably just down here.
Antarctica.
A few deep breaths to calm my anxiety,
Look at this, man. Below sea
and there's
level.
only one true way to keep yourself warm.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm pissing.
Thanks, mate.
With any jump off, it pays to be careful, and you'll see why in just a
I'm
second.
going back. There's a scary one coming. But look at that. Holy shit. Thank God we moved back.
The really dodgy thing with this jump off is those little chutes of water go up in different spots each time.
Too
So
bad.
if you're unlucky, you're getting lifted a few feet into the air and coming down on hard
Oh
rock.
fuck. No. Wow. Oh, I
A successful rock jump and about a 15-meter paddle later, I noticed a bunch of seals hanging off the side of the ledge. The water was a balmy 6 degrees.
Makes me a little worried.
At any new spot I visit, I always try and get my first wave as quickly as possible to get rid of those first wave jitters. Then I'm watching as many waves as possible, trying to figure out which ones will be the good ones and give me an exit.
Alright, butterfly's done. I should have shown that wave to you guys, but I was a bit mesmerised then. Probably like the rawest place I've visited in my life.
The forecast had dropped from its initial predictions, with it expected to fill in later that afternoon.
Tommy, you madman.
Earlier in the video, I mentioned that the waves push you towards the rocks. Tommy went on the first wave of the set and fell off, and narrowly missed getting skilled across the rocks by hitting this tiny little gap over here. So lucky. Usually I would have the GoPro in my mouth, but surfing a wave as serious as this, I felt I needed as little distraction as possible. What a lot of people don't realise is when you go and surf these spots, a lot of the time the swell period is massive, which means huge lulls. This day in particular, there was about 30 to 45 minutes just for single wave sets at times. Can be frustrating, but the wait is always worth it if you get a good one. With those waits often comes impatience, and with impatience often comes bad wave selection.
Straight close out.
Here's Tommy running me through his first successful ride of the morning, 2.5 hours into the session.
Yeah, right.
You know, sometimes it barrels the first bit.
Yeah.
I was calling for that.
Good.
And here's my first successful ride. Super fun, super bumpy. An hour later, getting stuck into another wave. After sitting around for so long, my legs almost felt numb on this one. Can you tell? This next ride is Lex O'Connor, one of Australia's best up-and-coming big wave surfers. I've slowed this clip down just to let you see how intense this step looks when you're paddling in on your own. This particular wave was a straight closeout.
Oh. That was so gnarly.
And saving my best wave of session 1 for last. 5.5 hours and 4 waves later. Time for a much needed lunch break. Not a bad place to watch the waves from either. The camera ran out of battery, but coming in, you come in right over, there. You just got to deal with some submerged rocks and some surgy waves. At this point, the tide had turned and the swell was starting to fill in.
This first one's pretty hectic. Oh. Someone go, please. Oh, tow. Should have gone the first one. Oh, that was pretty sick. Oh, towed in. Oh, Yoo-hoo! Oh. Jeez.
Round two. It's picked up a little bit, but the tide's super high. And even closer to the rocks.
You know the first time I needed the gaff this trip? When you just hit me in the head with your fin.
A bit of mandatory helmet testing
Imagine
for
I gave
Tommy.
you like stitches or something. It's like such a dork with the GoPro.
Have a look at how much water draws off of the rocks. If you mess up that rock jump, you're in a bit of trouble.
Oh my god. Oh, damn. That was too much.
And as I was paddling into my last wave of the trip, and hands down the best wave I've had out there, my camera battery ran out. Luckily, there was someone filming in the channel.
Like it's filming now. Oh, it's on 1%. I think the battery just struggles in the cold. Go, Tommy! Go, Tommy! Damn!
And that's a wrap, hey Tom? A successful end to the trip. Over 8 hours in the water and only 5 waves
How's your
caught.
day?
But every wave made this trip worth it.
This place is so beautiful. How's that sunset? Fuck, we
But now, the cherry on top.
walked about 50
A
metres.
lovely 2.5 to
And now we
3
got
hour hike back up
all
and down a
that
mountain.
to do.
And then back down the other side of it.
And back down the other side. God damn it, man.
Cue the heavy breathing.
Oh my God.
I really struggled with this hike. I don't know what
Just
Tom
nice.
does as a fireman, but it probably includes walking upstairs all day, every
Down that
day.
little headland down there. This has probably been one of the gnarliest hikes I've ever done with all my surfboards. Tommy leading the charge, and lesson to myself, never ever take a board bag again. Just carry each board under each arm. Off to Sydney.
We went straight from this swell into a day's rest before tackling one of the biggest swells that's ever hit Sydney's coast. Unfortunately, I lost my GoPro during this session, and I would love to get that footage back. If you find a GoPro lying around, you keep it. If you can just send me the footage. If you love this video, make sure to check out some of my other videos. I've done a great Dead Man's video that I think you'll love. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.